Hello and welcome to this particular video. In this particular video we'll be looking at form, how to build an input field in which people can fill in. For example, the registration form, you see the login form across various websites. How can we actually achieve something of that nature on our own project? The first thing you do will be the form tag. We open and close the form tag, and of course you know the form tag will have series of input fields. You can have the first name, the last name, email, phone number, date of birth, and the rest of those information. We are going to try as much as possible to build a very comprehensive form so that once you learn it here, you can build almost anything that has to do with a particular form. So let's start. So we can have an input tag. Let's see what we have in the browser. It may have been an input tag. I will refresh. Find out that we have a space here or an input field for somebody to actually type whatever the person wants into. But it is not actually nice that way, so it is better we add a label for it. What that page do? That's what that particular space doing rather. So we can say first name. So here we have to put an attribute type. This type signifies the kind of information we are expecting. Is it a number? Is it a date? Is it an ordinary text? And you will agree with me that when it comes to name, that will be a text. Okay, let me put a colon here. So we go to the browser and see what we have. I will refresh. So we now see we have first name. The person can actually type in here. Then another attribute I want to show you is the placeholder. Placeholder actually can serve as a guide for the people filling your form. Is a text that appears first when the person opens the form, but once you start typing something inside, the text will go away. For example, in this case we can say enter your first name. Okay, name. Alright, let's refresh and see what we have. You see, we now have a text instructing us what to do here. Enter your first name. Once I start typing maybe Dan, that particular text will be gone. Then there is another one I will not encourage you guys to use frequently until it is needed, is the value attribute. You can have an attribute called value. Let's say I put Sam there. Whatever you put in this value will come up in the form, and the person has to replace it first before typing, which is not actually good. Though the value attribute has its own benefit as we go down on this particular video, which you are going to see. So for now, we don't need the value attribute. I was just showing you so that you get to know that something like that actually exists. So we can actually do another one, another input field. Since we have first name, let's do for last name. We can do label again this time around, last name, right? Okay. Then we now have the input field. Input last name, of course, the type will also be text. So we just write text there, and let's copy this placeholder in order to save time. See the same thing, but in this case it will not be enter first name again. It will be enter last name. So we just want that same placeholder to be here, but we change this to last name. Enter last name. Let's see what we have and refresh it. Oh, it is actually here. I want it to be on a new line. Which tag do you think I should use? Your guess is as good as mine. The BR tag. That's correct. The BR tag. So I will refresh, and then we have it here on a new line. Then there is another attribute I want us to add. It is called the name attribute. Name. You might not really see the usefulness right now, unlike other times that you get to see what they are doing immediately. For the name attribute, we use it most especially in the back end when we are connecting a form to a database. And when I will be showing you the differences between the post method and the get method, the name attribute will have a very big role to play in that particular scenario. So I try as much as possible to make sure whatever I'm putting for the name attribute is one word. So in this case, first name. I can just copy it and then paste it for this other guy, being the last name, space, but I change the first to what? Last name. Last name. Oh, alright. So I can actually add another BR tag so that I can do something else. Another label. Let's say we want our user to have a space for email. For email, to say email. Then we create an input field for it. Input. And in this input field, the type in this case will be email. Not just an ordinary text, but email. Not just an ordinary text, but email. And we can have a placeholder that says enter your email. Then we can also have a name attribute. The name attribute which says in this case very simple, email. Then the BR tag so that we can enter a new line. And let's say you actually want someone to put a date, maybe the person's date of birth. Let's have a label that actually says date of birth. Label for date of birth. Date of birth. Oh, date of birth. Oh, my cap log is on. Sorry about that. Date of birth. Alright, let's keep a space there. And then an input type. What do you think will be the input type for this particular input field? Yes, the input type will be date. That's actually correct. We say date. Now let's refresh and see what we have on the browser first. Let's refresh and see what we have on the browser. We have email, enter your email. We have date that comes with a date picker. So you can actually click that and then a calendar will come up for you. Alright, let's continue building our form. I can actually give that to a name attribute if I want. Name attribute, I can give it maybe DOB, standing for maybe date of birth. Then a BR tag. What if as the person is filling our form, we want the person to leave a text for us, some sort of a comment. How can we do that? We can create a label, call it comment in this case. Comment, or maybe your comment. But this time around, we'll not just be using an input field. Rather, we'll be using what we call a text area. We'll be using what we call a text area. Let's refresh and see what we have. We're using what we call a text area. So we see comments. Now let's make comment to be on top by adding a BR tag here. I think that will be very necessary. Let's see what we have. By refreshing, we now have comments. So a bigger text for people to type. And we can actually adjust this to any size we want using the COL attribute. So under this text area, we'll just say COL. I'll put it to, let's say 9. And then space rules. No. Okay. Then the rules, I can set it to, let's say 10. I'm actually trying to adjust the size of that text area. Look at it here. So we can actually have a bigger size where we can type something inside. Let's say I increase this to 15. Don't think I'm really comfortable with that size. So let me refresh it and see what we have. Okay. Alright. Now let's take it to maybe 25 or 35 as the case may be. I want it to be a bit bigger. Okay, I think I'm comfortable with this. It is enough for somebody to type whatsoever the person wants to type. So that is how we can actually create some sort of a text area for people to drop their comments. Then on our page, what if you want the person to upload maybe a picture or any other file? We can also have another tab called you see the input, but in this case we'll be using a type called file. Let's add a BR tag here. Of course, you know, if we don't add it, it appear on the same line, and I don't want that. Let's refresh and see what we have. If I refresh this, you see no file chosen. I can actually choose a file when I click on it. Okay, let's say I want to upload picture or PDF or whatsoever I actually want to do, but I don't want to do that now. All right, let's continue with our form. We can keep this at the very end. Let's look for another. So what if while filling this form you want to get the gender, of the people filling your form, whether they are male or female. You can actually do something like label, and then we put gender. Gender. If we put the gender in this case, we have to apply a particular tag called, it's still the input tag, but the type in this case will be radio button, because you know the gender, we want the person to pick only one value. So we can say radio in this case, radio, and then here we need the value attribute. What value should be there for that particular button? You can say male. Then we also need the name attribute. The name in this case, okay, let me leave the name so that you see what will happen, so that you get a clearer picture of what I want to do. Let me add a BR tag, then copy it and do for others. That's the male, the female. Okay, so I can actually write here male. Then this particular place I can put female. Then the value here, of course, will change to female, so that we know that place is for female. Then you can have another gender, maybe the other gender, which we call other. So we change this place to other too. Let's see what we have on the browser when I save and refresh. You see we have male, female, other. So we can actually pick the one we actually want to use. But observe that if I click male, I can also click female, and I can also click other. Whereas the person filling the form wants to click just one. It's either the person is male, or the person is female, or the person clicks other. That is what we want to achieve. How can we connect them so that they will know that they are connected to each other? We can actually do that by giving them a name attribute. But that name, they all carry the same name attribute. So in this case, I can say maybe the name attribute to the gender. I will just copy this. That's all I have to do. Copy it and paste it here, and also paste it for this other guy. And then let's refresh and see what we have. I will refresh now. If I press male, then I now press female. You see, it moves from male to female. I press other, it moves from female to other. I return back to male. So you see our form at that point becomes the gender is connected now, and it is working very well. What if we want to submit this form? You can actually use an input type called, you can say input. The input type in this case will be submit. So you just have to master all these types. It is very necessary. You can say submit. You can actually say submit, and then let's see what we have on the browser. I'll refresh it. See, we now have a submit button. Let me make it to appear on a new line by adding a BR tag to this particular line. You can even make it to, the more you add, the more space you tend to create. Let's refresh and see how it is. Okay, see, it's a bit far from this other one here. All right, so let's try filling our form and submitting the form. Let's say we have father as the first name. Let's see, okay, let's say we have mom as the second name. Now watch what will happen to email. Let's say we have when, just when. Then the date, let's just leave the date for now, and then pick mail. and then try submitting. You see, it asks us that we should please include at in the email address. The reason is because we use the input type email, so it will automatically ask us to make it appear like an email, so we can say wendy@gmail.com, and if I want to submit, you see that error message will be gone. No issue at all. Now, there are some things we have to add to our form. What if I want to do something like if I don't fill in something on the face name, you should be able to tell me, hey, you did not fill in something there. Please go back and fill it. There is a special attribute we can actually use. It is called required. So I can just type it here, required. Required in each of the input fields. So I'll copy it and paste it here. I'll copy it and paste it here to copy it and paste it everywhere. So if there is anything I don't fill and I want to submit, I will be asked to go back and fill that particular field. Alright, let's see what we have done so far. Refresh. Okay. You know, clicking on submit, I just click on submit, it's saying this field is empty. Let's say I write something in that field, then I skip this last name, then I enter email and give an email address there, say .com, and then pick a date and all those things. Then try clicking on submit. Automatically it will request that this particular field is empty. Please fill in this field. So that is how powerful the required attribute is. Alright, what if I maybe after filling everything, let's say I fill something there, pick a date here, fill whatever I want, type whatever I like, pick here. What if I want to reset the form? Maybe I discovered that most of the fields, whatever I set in there, they were actually wrong, and I want to, you know, wipe up everything. There is another input we can actually use. Just can put it here. It is called input. Then the type in this case will be reset. Type reset. Type reset. Alright, let's refresh and see what we have. So we see reset. So if assuming I type series of stops here, and then I discover that most of the things I typed were wrong, and then I want to wipe them off, I can actually click on reset to clean up everything at once. Alright, now let's move forward in our form building. What if in our form we want to have something like let's say a series of hobbies, unlike this male and female in which we can only click only one. Then we want to have a scenario whereby one can click up to 4 5 things. Let's say for example hobbies. While the person is filling the form, we want to ask the person, what are your hobbies? Then we can actually build it using what we call checkbox. Can actually, let me do that here. Can actually build that using what we call checkbox. So in this case, I can just do label. Let me say hobbies, or select your hobbies as the case may be. And let me add a BR tag here, just like I did for gender, because I want it to be on a new line and I want it to be as clean as possible so that we can see what is happening. Alright, so I will start with the input, and this time around the type, like I mentioned initially, will be checkbox. And in this checkbox, I will give it a name attribute, and of course, like we did in the gender, in order for me to connect all of them, I will give them one attribute name. So let's just call it hobby. Let's call it that, hobby. And then it will also have a value attribute in this case. You see the reason why it has a value attribute when we try submitting the form. Then let's say this particular hobby is reading. The person likes reading. The value will also be reading. So I can create up to 7 hobbies or whatever I want. So let me just copy that and paste so that we'll see how this works. Then I will just be editing it to what I want. So input type, in this case, let's say the other hobby is playing. The person has a hobby of playing, so we change this value of course to playing too. Let's say the person has a hobby of dancing. You know, there are some people that likes dancing, so the value in this case will also be dancing. Let's give it dancing. It's only the name attribute that will remain the same. You see, we are having hobby all through for all of them. That's in order to help us connect them. Let's say the person has another hobby of singing. There are some people that like singing. So you should be able to include that for them in case they want to pick that. Singing, you have singing. Alright, let's see what we have on the browser. I save, always remember to save your work. So hobbies, you see, the person at this point can actually pick more than one. The person can actually pick more than one in this case. Alright, then let's make our form more sophisticated. What if you have series of things you want the person to pick from? Let's say something like draw series of cars. You want the person to pick cars. What particular input type can we actually use for that particular aspect to make it work very, very well? There is another one we are going to use in order to fit our work. We can use what we call the select option. So let me just do a label telling us what is happening there. In this case, we can say pick your car, pick your desired car, as the case may be. Okay, then this one is a bit complicated. Please check it out and follow it slowly. So the first thing I will do will be to do the select tag. I'll do the select tag, and then this select tag will have a name attribute since it will be covering all of them. So we have name here, and then the name can be cars. The name in this case can be cars, and then I'll begin to have series of options. Then option 1 can be maybe Benz or whatever the person's choice is. And what I have to then the value, it will have a value attribute. Yes, to have a value attribute. And let's still maintain the same name Benz. Then we can have another value, option rather. We can have up to whatever we want to, depending on. So I'll keep on pasting so that we can edit it to what we want. Let's say something like, can use anything. Let's just say Nissan. Then the value in this case we also have to change to Nissan. We can also have something like maybe Toyota. Still have a Toyota here. We can also have and then there is something I want to show you. Please, okay, I think I have to generate that error first, then correct it so that you get to appreciate it. So any other car, we can whatever we want to put in there. So you can even add it here, just some sort of dummy text. Now let's see what we have on the browser. Watch the technicality, please. That's the most important thing. Watch what is happening, please. Let me add a BR tag. It's on the new, it's on the same line, and I don't want that. Please watch what is happening here. Okay. Pick your car. Okay. Submit button. BR tag here too. Refresh. Where did we put it? Oh, it should be at the select button rather. The closing tag of the select, that's where it should be. And even drop it here, and it will still work perfectly well. I don't want the submit to be on the same line with this guy here. Good. So you see, if I click on it, we have a drop down. We can actually select whatever we want. Let's say you want to select this Toyota. You see, but it appears initially. Let me refresh this. You find out that even when I don't pick something, Benz is already here. This is actually bad. is a common mistake by developers, but there is a way out, and it's actually very simple. If you are a developer watching this, the first thing you can do is to come here, give the first option, make sure the first option is empty. Just create an option and then leave it like that. So let's refresh and see whether we can do away with this Benz such that somebody has to select Benz before Benz can show there. Okay, I just refresh. So it's only the drop down. So you now have the opportunity to pick the ones you want to pick without the computer picking for you. Okay, now let's see what we have. You see, in this form, we can have both the select, the get method and the post method. We come to the original form tag and then we give it what we call the method attribute. We can give it the get method. We can also give it the post method. And by default, it is using the get method already. Now let's see what happened in the get method. I want to fill this form and submit. So I can say Dan as the face name. Oh, there is something we did not add to our form. Let's add a password. Let's do that just immediately after the email. So let's look at where the email is, line 12. And then let's create a space there and work on it. So we just do label password. So in this particular task we just do input, and the input, the tag will be, the type rather will be password. So let's see what we have in that particular input field. So I'll refresh. Then once I type something, you see it is hidden like a password. So let me add the BR tag so that the other stuff can be on a new line. And of course, I will also give it the name attribute password, and then I will also give it what else do we need? I think that's okay for now. Maybe if I want to add a placeholder. So let's refresh and see what we have and then fill this form. Let's try filling this form. The first name is Sam, the next name is Dan, the next the email can be ida at gmail.com. Then the password can be 12345. Then we pick the date. Let's say we want to give it 23 of October 20, any year at all. We can even go as far back as 2011 as the case may be. Then write up and then select male or female, and then a pick of it like reading, playing. Then select the car, maybe Nissan. I don't actually want to upload the picture yet for now. And then submit. Let's see what we have. Now, please observe this URL encoding. You find out that the first name is Sam, the last name is Dan, the email, this is the email I inserted, and the password is showing a 12345. The reason why this is showing is because I've added the name attribute. And this is, and of course, the value where I'm supposed to add it. That is why this is showing. I'm also using the get method here. This method here, I'm using the get method, which it is not really good to use it at this point, because assuming you fill a form and somebody gets to see all your details, including your password, your name and your email, then your account can easily be hacked. So we can actually change that by changing this to the post method. The post method, save your work. And let me open this particular work on a new tab. I want to differentiate it. Also try open it on a new tab. Let's open it and see what we have. Then we'll fill the form again. That's the essence of it. We want to fill the form again and see whether when we click on submit, whether the name will come up. So we have let's say maybe first and last name mom, and then the email at gmail.com, and then the password still 12345, and then the date of birth you can say 31st maybe November, any year at all, 1988. Oh, 1881, that's bad. 1988, as the case may be. Then right up here, then we pick female, then 2 hobbies, then I'll even select the car, the car that I want, maybe Nissan in this case, and then submit. Oh, enter a valid value. Oh yeah. November should not be up to that. Let's see, 30th. Let's submit. I've actually clicked the submit, and you notice that there is no information here on the URL. So endeavor to always use your post method and only use the get method if need be. And if you follow this course to the other part of it, the back end, you get to see where we have to use the get method and where we have to use the post method and what they are actually being meant for. Your task in this particular video is for you to create a full form like this, send us both the code, and now it appears on the browser to the community. Our team will be waiting there to assess your work, and please try as much as possible to do that very soon, because we will be using that to grade your work. I will say at this point it was nice building this form with you. I'll be looking forward to doing more with you in subsequent classes. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.